Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Wolf. I'm the designated federal official for this Federal Advisory Committee. I'd like to welcome you to the Coordinating Council on Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention's quarterly meeting. And with that, this meeting is officially open, and I will turn it over to the Vice Chair, Karen Harp.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. I know it's a drizzly, cold December day, but we so appreciate you all being here, and I think we have something special for you that you're really going to enjoy. Once again, we have some youth here to talk with us about mentoring. Our subject for today is mentoring, and we have some mentors and mentees here to talk with us about their experience and answer some questions if you have them. So before we get started, I just want to welcome Frankie Lucio. Is that correct? Hi, Frankie. And Amira. We'll be hearing from them later. First, actually, that was first. Second, I want to commend everyone who sent me their partnership work. I believe Elizabeth has been harassing you all for that for some weeks and or months now. And so far, DOE, HHS, ONDCP, and DOD have all sent us their programs, their juvenile programs that they have ongoing and partnerships they have existing. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It'll really help inform the end of the year report that we give to Congress. So that'll be great. I understand DHS wants to, but has some challenges in that area. Totally fine with that. Anyway, if you haven't, the end of the year yet, you should feel free to go ahead and please respond to Elizabeth's email to you. All right. Today's presentation, we'll get right on with it, is all about mentoring programs. And when we talk about mentoring, we talk about James Antal. There's nobody else in OJJDP who is the absolute hands-down expert on our mentoring programs and everything that mentoring entails. Now we have Jim here and Jennifer Kemp, and Maria Lana Queen. Okay. I do not have bios for any of you. I know Jim, and I could go on and on, but I won't. I'll let Jim go on and introduce himself and go ahead and introduce the program. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. Very nice introduction. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. As Karen said, I'm Jim Antal. I'm the Associate Administrator for our Special Victims and Violent Offenders Division here at OJJDP. And the mentoring portfolio does fit within my division. I had a chance to work with the program for many years, seen it grow. Just happy to be a part of it, and have had lots of opportunities to partner even with our other federal agencies that are here in the past, which is fantastic to see some old friends and hear more about what they're doing now. I'm going to try to get the technology right here. All right, so I got a couple slides in here that I'm double clicking on. With regards to OJJDP, I think not only does mentoring obviously fit within my division, but it fits within the vision and the mission of OJJDP. There's been a ton of research out there around the impact that mentoring has on addressing risk factors for juvenile delinquency, but also acting as a protective factor for youth and helping them to continue to grow and to deal with situations that they may be faced with at school or at home or in the community. So again, just a quick overview. The mentoring, at least from an OJJDP perspective, as we view this, we're focused on supporting quality mentoring. So youth mentoring is a consistent pro-social relationship between an adult or older peer and one or more youth that helps to support positive youth development. So in our funding strategies within mentoring, we don't value or place a value on one type of mentoring over another. We're not one-on-one mentoring is better than group mentoring, or peer mentoring is better than adult to youth mentoring. It's really focusing on the quality and making sure that the program, that the mentors are properly trained, that they're supported, that the matches are done in a way that's of high quality. So that's what's most important for us at OJJDP when it comes to mentoring. So again, as I said, mentoring matches up very nicely with the mission and vision of OJJDP, especially as it relates to research out there demonstrating that it does improve self-esteem, academic achievement, addressing substance abuse, as well as a number of other risk factors that many kids are faced with. OJJDP has been a long-standing supporter of mentoring. I think we've used this in a number of our publications, but I'd like to say that, and no offense to my partner agencies here, but OJJDP is the only federal agency that's specifically focused on juveniles. And so we've been proud to be able to direct and manage and use these mentoring funds as best as possible and to support as many kids and families as we possibly can. So just here's a demonstration of some of the funding that we've received from FY 2008 through 2019. We've received and awarded over $950 million in grants. And these funds are used to help increase opportunities for youth, helping them have mentors, and again, as I said, improve the quality and impact of the mentoring that they receive. So not only have we supported programs, which I'm going to get to in detail in a minute, which I think most folks think of, and of course our guests are very aware of, but we've also historically supported research for mentoring as well as training and technical assistance. So a couple examples of some past research or evaluation efforts that we've been a part of or that we've supported include our Mentoring Enhancement Demonstration Program, as well as I think a process that we engaged in a couple years ago focused on this practitioner research partnership. So this is not true research in the sense that we're doing randomized control groups or anything like that, but this is an opportunity to really hit the ground running. So we would match up matching grants between a mentoring organization that's actually matching youth with mentors with a research partner, evaluation partner, and they would, instead of waiting and studying something for 5 to 10 years, you would hit the ground running and start both at the same time to begin to identify best practices or approaches that would work. And these were two specific ones that we had done most recently, mentoring children of incarcerated parents, which there's been a lot of support for that time, and OJJDP continues to be involved in that work, as well as lifting up a cognitive behavioral approach to mentoring as well. So there's actually those are just starting to wind down, and being able to use some of that to help inform some of the solicitations that we put out has been helpful. So our premier funding solicitation is our Mentoring Opportunities for Youth initiative. We started this in FY15, but prior to that, some of you who've been around may have remember that we had actually done a couple of different solicitations for national mentoring or multi-state mentoring or a couple of other ones that just sort of were all over the place in a good way. But this was a way to sort of help concentrate our mentoring funding into one solicitation that had a number of categories. So it started out in FY 2015 with 3 categories. One is our national mentoring program, which is that's a category that supports our larger mentoring organizations such as Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, 4-H, a couple of other programs that are national in nature. The definition for that is they're in 45 or more states across the country. So we're investing the public dollars in those organizations that have the largest, broadest reach. Then we had a category entitled multi-state mentoring, where we support, it's sort of that middle group, right? It's those organizations that are in at least 5 states, but less than 45. So it's that middle group. Examples include Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, C Research, a couple of organizations that are just have reached beyond 5 states. So, and then our third category historically had been an opportunity to help mentoring organizations collaborate on those components for mentoring programs that are important. So for example, it takes a lot of effort for a small mentoring organization to do recruiting mentors. So if you have 5 or 10 of the same organizations in the same area trying to recruit the same group of volunteers, you can imagine how challenging that is. We spent some time trying to make some linkages there, promote some best practices around not only recruitment, but also sharing training for mentors, whatever the case may be. And so you'll see in FY 15, 16, and 17, we had right around the same amount of awards. In FY 18, we received an appropriation, an increase in the mentoring funds with a direction to, with appropriations language for these funds to be focused on mentoring for youth impacted by opioids. So there was an increase in funding there in FY 18, starting in FY 18, and we brought the team together to come up with a way to expand the solicitation to add those 2 new categories that were focused on youth impacted by opioids. So this just gives you a snapshot here of the amount of funding that we've been able to release in awards in the first 3 categories. I'll note that for category 3, we shifted in FY 18 from our collaborative approach that I mentioned to focusing on supporting mentoring programs for youth involved in the juvenile justice system, specifically partnering mentor organizations with probation agencies, juvenile courts, trying to work with, basically giving those staff another tool in their toolbox to help work with kids, low-level offenders that were on their caseloads. For those of you who are familiar with probation, I mean, probation officers can have over 50, hundreds of kids on their caseloads. Being able to have that as a resource was something that we determined and had heard from the field was important. And so then you'll see opioid, with the funding that we received, which was actually $14 million, we came up with 2 approaches. One was to help pair up mentoring organizations with substance abuse organizations, so to help bring that expertise together. So whether it was meant to serve those youth who were impacted by opioids in a number of different ways, whether a family member had been addicted, whether they lost a family member due to that, just being able to have that resource available to them. So the program sites were those smaller site-specific efforts that we funded. And then we also wanted to recognize that there were state efforts out there or regional efforts that could be supported, as well as tribal efforts. So this was an opportunity for us to support some of that as well. I'm going to be mindful of my time. I don't know. I'm looking for Elizabeth. Okay, let me see here. All right, so those are our programs, right? Like that's our main focus with regards to funding, but we also support training and technical assistance. This is an opportunity to not only provide that training and technical assistance to the program sites that we fund, but also this is available to any mentoring organization across the country. So we began to support the National Mentoring Resource Center back in 2013, I believe. This is a fantastic resource full of information on best practices, on program models, on tools that mentoring organizations can use. And they can go to the website, which is nationalmentoringresourcecenter.org. It's been our 3-legged stool for the Resource Center. It's a comprehensive website, a research board which continues to put out information, skill-based information for mentors and mentoring organizations across the country to better inform their practices, and then also offering training and technical assistance on-site, webinars, those types. And then I guess just kind of a quick plug here for the National Mentoring Summit, which is coming up here in January. I know many of my partners have been there before. OJJDP does not fund this, but we are very involved with this because we use it as an opportunity for us to bring our newly funded mentoring grantees together in person, which has really proved invaluable. We started this 3 years ago, where we basically hold a shoulder meeting during this event to bring everyone together. We fund, as you saw, 30-some organizations, and wow, the peer learning is amazing. To bring them together face-to-face is really fantastic. Here's just a couple of quick resources. I think that might be it. Yep. We're doing questions, or if we're just going. Yep. Me.
Yep, perfect.
Yep.
Sure. So I want to start by saying thank you for having us here to talk about the Department of Labor mentoring programs. I oversee the office that focuses on youth within the Employment Training Administration's Division of Youth Services. And we, as my colleague indicated, we focus on mentoring throughout our program for youth ages 14 to 21, 21 to 24 for the older youth. And when we at the Department of Labor think about work, when we think about mentoring, we think about work. So our mentoring is sort of focused on how we help people do well in the workplace. We have 3 main programs. The first one is one where we connect most of those JDTP, which is our Reentry Employment Opportunities Program. And through this, we have about $25 million that we give out in grants to intermediaries every year that have a component that focuses on mentoring. Mentoring is a piece of what we do with our REO grants, but not the sole focus. And when we think in our office about mentoring larger, we think about helping youth who don't have necessarily the support systems that we might have, develop the relationships outside the typical family atmosphere to get those skills that make them resilient. And that's good, positive youth development. I personally think of it, if you were holding up an egg in one hand and a bouncing ball in the other hand, and you drop them at the same time, we know the egg will probably splatter. We know the ball will bounce. And so we want to help the youth develop these relationships so that when something goes wrong in their life and something falls, they have the resiliency to bounce like a bouncy ball. So that's one of our key things. We do within the REO program think, as you all do, pretty largely. It could be peer-to-peer mentoring, adult mentoring, group-based mentoring. So there's a very large overview of what we think about there. We also use mentoring to encourage the youth to complete high school because that's part of moving on to the employment. And we really want them to also, in these mentoring relationships, think about work in a way that's different than what they've experienced more day to day. So to make connections with professional people, to think about other types of career pathways that are available to them that they might not see as readily in their community or in their family. And we have had some success with that. Another program that falls within our office is the Youth Build program. Now, you probably have all maybe heard about the Youth Build program. It's something we do with, we partner with HUD quite a bit with. And it's the program that has the strongest sort of definition and component of mentoring. We have technical assistance, a lot of technical assistance through Youth Build USA that has a very strong and well-developed mentoring program. So oftentimes our grants, and in this year it's about 75, 80 million a year, that fluctuates a little bit. And there is a component of that that goes towards the mentoring. And you can see here that the Youth Build has a very strong sort of model called the Youth Build Mentoring Program model. And again, we're trying to connect the folks to someone who's caring and will help support them as they go through the program. Youth Build USA, which is, again, not necessarily part of the Department of Labor, but we work closely with them, does do quite a bit of activities and often brings youth to talk to us because we get to this point where, what I remember as a youth is very different than the type of mentoring that is needed now. I did not have to worry about, social media mentoring, for instance, or those type of things. And so we, in the Youth Build space, are a big believer that the youth know best. So going along with that concept is for a Youth Build, a successful mentoring relationship is when the youth comes back and goes on to mentor other youth. That is something that we're definitely looking for and something that we track for success. Then the final program that falls within my office is actually our largest program. It's the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act Youth Formula Program. This is about, ranges roughly about $850 million a year. It's a formula-funded program that goes from the state to the local, then participants are at the local level. One thing that's common through all of our programs is there's a big focus on youth who are out of school, youth who did not successfully complete high school. Our goal is, of course, to get them engaged and either get their GED or a high school equivalent and or finish high school. The key thing about WIOA Youth Formula Program is there's 14 required program elements that have to be available to every youth in the local area. Now, we want the youth to be engaged in developing what services they receive, and they sit down with the counselor and sort of talk about, what their goals are, and the case manager or counselor helps them map out what they're going to be doing. Mentoring is a key part of that, but mentoring is actually really hard. Like I tried to do it once or twice, and to make that long-term commitment to the youth, which research shows that those long-term relationships are really important, and to help train staff, and again, just where we use your resources, because we, within the Youth Formula Program, we don't want it to be a one-time thing. We're looking for those long, consistent relationships to develop. And so we do find that many of our youth participate in mentoring, but not all take advantage of that opportunity. I bring up the local piece because I think it's important for the people to understand that the youth formula money is controlled at the local level. And so a lot of times people will be like, well, how do we get engaged with this? And the answer is get your workforce forward at the local level and help direct the money to resources and services that relate to mentoring. And so we, again, know from our work in the Formula Program that mentoring does make a difference and that we do have good outcomes or better outcomes for youth who have been engaged in the mentoring. And we've done some research around this, but we're looking forward to doing more. And then there's, similar to you, a few links that you can go to. Now they're very number and letter heavy, but if you would like to actually get to them quicker, feel free to contact me. I can send you some direct links. So that's a little bit of information about mentoring at the Department of Labor.
Okay. No problem. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maria Lana Queen. I'm representing the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the Office of Public and Indian Housing, and I'd like to thank the Coordinating Council for having HUD's participation today. I'm also celebrating or continuing to celebrate 30 years at HUD, doing some pretty good work. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the two young people that are here because it's always great to have young people in our presence. So welcome. Let me start with HUD's mission. Part of HUD's mission includes using housing as a platform to improve outcomes for low-income children and families. And so using that mission statement, we best align our mentoring programs and anti-bullying approaches with what we refer to as community and supportive services programs. At HUD, we provide funding to the nation's 3,200 public housing authorities, and we do that in the form of competitive funding to focus on economic mobility and to help low-income families achieve self-sufficiency. Those program areas that also include mentoring and things like anti-bullying approaches include Choice Neighborhoods. Here we focus on housing, neighborhood, and people. The Jobs Plus program, which focuses on workforce development and employment and increasing earned income for families and also young adults and youth. Ross Service Coordination, which is a comprehensive case management and referral process, which can include mentoring opportunities and positive youth development. We also have a Ross for Education program, which focuses on helping low-income youth pursue post-secondary education and complete their federal applications for free student aid. That can be accompanied by what we refer to as an education navigator, which is probably a key mentor component in this program. We also are proud to have partnered with the Department of Justice in the past to create the Juvenile Reentry Assistance Program, better known as JRAP. And this program provides legal assistance to support justice-involved youth. And again, that program is linked with mentoring and other supportive opportunities. We also have the Connect Home program, which addresses digital divide and providing internet accessibility in low-income communities. This is key because a lot of times young people are needing access to the internet to complete their daily activities or to pursue their goals in life. And without the internet, they are at a disadvantage. So we choose to focus on that as well. To put this in best perspective to understand the role of public housing authorities and the fact that we like to say that they serve as an oasis for serving vulnerable young people, I'd like to just briefly touch on their role. So public housing authorities are primarily responsible for providing HUD-assisted housing to low-income families nationwide. Assistance can include an array of supportive services in addition to housing. And I think that that is where they best do their work as far as youth programming, mentoring, and addressing bullying. There are two types of housing options that a public housing authority offers to a family. One is considered public housing. If you will envision the large apartment-style complexes throughout the nation and throughout cities, that's one option. And those throughout the country, households include a little over 1 million households, those public housing units. And then there are the tenant-based assistance program, housing choice voucher, and project-based vouchers. These are all formerly known as Section 8. And those households include a little over 2 million across the country. Within those two housing options, 49% of households represent families with children. So you can imagine our responsibility for really addressing the needs of those households and providing positive youth development for children and families. The average household adjusted income is a little over $14,000 compared to the average median income in the U.S. of $59,000. Okay, so that kind of puts it in perspective as far as, you know, helping low-income families achieve self-sufficiency and what we do and why we do it. HUD self-sufficiency programs can also include partnering with several nonprofits or community partners locally. In fact, within the programs that I just noted, we have a 25% match requirement. So in addition to HUD funding, that requires our public housing authorities to seek local partnerships to address the needs of children and family. And those partnerships, and even using HUD funding, can address the following: positive youth development opportunities, which focus on mentoring, civic engagement, youth leadership development, anti-bullying approaches, and also overall opportunities to help youth achieve their goals in education and career. We also focus on summer youth employment and positive summer experiences for vulnerable youth, and also keeping youth safe for the summer, absent of bullying and violence. We also support positive law enforcement interaction, including creative approaches to preventing bullying by focusing on team building and character development. There are also a number of coordinated community events and gatherings that provide on-site youth services in every area. We tend to focus on education and career development, but it definitely includes supportive services, life skills development, and character development, and again, keeping young people absent of being bullied and or in vulnerable positions. Our community facilities are important because in every public housing community, you will find a community facility, whether it's a Boys and Girls community, Boys and Girls Club, or a public housing authority common space where families enter for services. And as a result, we focus on offering safe havens and safe opportunities and services from access to nutritional meals and services, recreation, and again, a number of other opportunities.
We also do a great deal of leveraging with federal and nonprofit partnerships in general at HUD. And that basically includes HUD knocking on the doors to some of the federal agencies and say, hey, we want to partner. We don't have funding, but we know you do. And we have the population that we can help you reach. So a lot of that is sort of navigating relationships, just like we're sort of expecting our public housing authorities to develop relationships. We do a great job of developing relationships. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we do a great job of partnering in general, and let me explain how that works. Beyond our public housing funding that we award to grantees, we work every day to broker and partner relationships with federal agencies and nonprofits. With the nonprofits, I'm just going to go down this list because everything that I'm mentioning here requires that safe spaces are created for our young people. And so when we say safe spaces, the best we get at with bullying or addressing bullying is that we don't tolerate bullying in these environments because we're creating positive youth development activities and opportunities for children to thrive and youth to pursue their goals in life. So here, for instance, the Book Rich environments. We have partnered with the National Book Foundation, Department of Education, Urban Library Councils, and the Center for Families and Learning. We provided this summer, as a result of 3 years, 1 million books to low-income children. And we do that through these great book giveaway events that offer all kinds of positive experiences for young people. So we're very proud of that. And all of this is revenue neutral. So we do a pretty good job of establishing partnerships that don't require funding. ABC Mouse, we have a relationship with ABC Mouse that provides this free or online early childhood education program. For a non-low-income family, you pay a price for this, like a utility bill or something a month, a small amount, but we get it free for our families to make sure that we're helping our children who live in poverty be at the standards of others for early childhood education. STEM, that's saturated with mentoring, but we focus on promoting STEM careers. And we have a partnership with the West Point Academy. And they serve as great mentors throughout the year to many of our communities and children and youth in public housing. Financial literacy, we can help promote education and services and you know, the whole nine yards of summer youth employment, but without financial literacy, I don't think we've done our job. So we do a pretty good job of providing fun financial literacy opportunities for youth who are working and interested in pursuing a career pathway. Continuing for health, we also have a community health worker initiative, because if our young people are not healthy, then they can't thrive in life. And so we work closely with the Department of Health and Human Services, of course, on several of those efforts. And then as far as economic empowerment, HUD has a strong families initiative. It's our former Father's Day initiative. And perhaps this event is this opportunity allows public housing authorities to have these great celebrations around Father's Day and Mother's Day, but we're also providing on-site supportive services. Again, reaching youth where they are. We provide mentoring opportunities, education, career pathways, and all kinds of fun stuff like the arts and STEM. We do that at our Strong Families events nationally every year, and we normally have about 900 events going on across the country at the same time, so we're very proud of that. Federal partnerships, as I mentioned, we do quite a bit of that, and it's important because, as I know that where HUD does not have the funding and some of the agencies do, we can bring our people and families to you to help you reach your goals. So we have historically done a pretty good job of making sure that we are part of all these efforts that serve youth. We're serving the same population, right? So in the past, we've worked closely with the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention from 2010 to 2016, making sure that our housing authorities were actively a part of that effort nationally and to make sure that our youth are benefiting. The Federal My Brother's Keeper initiative is focused on uplifting young men of color as well as all young people. We worked closely to make sure that our communities were included in that between 2014 and 17. The Be Best campaign currently, the First Lady's campaign, we're working with the First Lady's office to ensure that the branding of that opportunity, which focuses on the well-being of young people and cyberbullying, is included in public housing authorities, and we do that, and we'll work with the First Lady's office to coordinate future events. And of course, we drive off of the Interagency Working Group on Youth Programs, which is just a great mecca, similar to the Coordinating Council, where all federal agencies have an opportunity to share resources, to network. And for HUD, that's where we've benefited the most. We've been able to pull that information and those resources and provide it to our public housing authorities to develop partnerships and or to access partnerships to help young people. Finally, the Coordinating Council, of course, we've been historically a part of the Coordinating Council forever. And, you know, it's been a great opportunity to really address juvenile justice. That's about it. I don't have the fancy links for information, but I bet you if you email me, I can get them to you quicker. So thank you very much. You're welcome.
Accidents. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for any of our panelists? I know I do, so don't get too excited if nobody else does. Do any of you have anything you want to ask? Okay, I do. And this is both for, yes, hello? On the phone?
Hi, this is Jim.
Was there a question on the phone? Oh, okay. Go right ahead.
As it relates to HUD and some of the mentoring opportunities which they offer, I'm curious to know which some of the organizations on the ground that you guys are partnering with in terms of who has access to the information and the resources which HUD has. Because a lot of the kids I work with in public housing, by the way, I also run a local mentoring organization here in New York City. And I've never heard some of the resources that you guys provide for kids and families in public housing. So I'm wondering, how is that information getting to the community and which organization you're partnering with on the ground? Because I would hate to think that such resources are available, but the kids most do not have access to it.
Thank you. Is this St. Germain? Oh, thank you. Okay, so good points. The one thing that I would recommend is that locally, be in contact with your local public housing authority to receive updates on what funding they are applying for and what funding they have received. And also, I want to uplift the youth.gov website, which is managed by that Federal Interagency Working Group on Youth Programs, because that includes every federal program that's been funded and what locality. And so if you look there, you can certainly see where the funding is going. With HUD, we don't have a program specifically where we don't have a mentoring program per se, like my colleagues just spoke about. We fund public housing authorities, and within that funding, they have a number of eligible activities that this funding can be used for. Anything that helps a family get back on their feet and work, anything that helps young people, as I said, thrive in education and career goals. So as far as the organizations locally that receive that, a housing authority can partner with the Boys and Girls Club. They can partner with the Corporation for National Community Service, which provides mentors and vistas. They also partner with a number of community-based and faith-based organizations. They may also be recipients of HUD funding through subcontracts. So if you're not hearing about the funding, it's probably because housing authorities, obviously they receive funding and they have to use that funding per HUD's regulations, but then that funding is trickling down to services through partnerships. And so, St. Germain, I would recommend that you contact the New York City Housing Authority if you're working with NYCHA, and then email me, and I will help you provide you some information on where the programs are located and who's administering those programs, if that's helpful to you.
Yep. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry I did not thank you guys for the presentation and the work that you're doing. Mentoring in particular is very close to my heart. credit mentorship with saving me and where I am today in life. So I just want to encourage you to keep pushing it and keep doing that work, because some young people, they truly rely on having a mentor in their lives to help show them an alternative path. So again, I'm sorry I didn't thank you guys at the beginning of the question. So thank you again.
Thank you. Oh, you have a question? All right. I think June has a question for you. I think no.
Is it on?
This one.
There we
you
go. Thanks. Thank you, all of you, for your very interesting and informative presentations. I have to say, we all want to hear about the great work of government and the REACH. And my question to all of you is, are each of your initiatives and programs able to report back on the number of young people reached through these mentoring initiatives? I think that government does great work, and sometimes we don't do a great job of saying how far the reach of our work is. So I just wonder if any of you can comment on any, all, some of those programs and the reach of the programs. Thank you. So I can go first. This is Jennifer with the Department of Labor. And we can, so, you know, there's always a caveat with data, right? It's as good as the people who are able to enter it. And so the people who are entering it are doing, in my opinion, very important work, usually mentoring the youth. So there are different priorities there. But to the extent that someone enters the data, we do track how many youth who are enrolled in our program receive mentoring services. And so if someone is interested in looking at a big publicly available spreadsheet about that stuff, it's called the Pearl. I can connect you to that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
was going to say the same, very similar. So we have quarterly reporting tracking mechanisms for each of the programs that I mentioned, the funding programs, and we track child care, we track early childhood education, we track the number of students who are completing their free application for federal student aid, the number of students who, as a result of that, have been enrolled in post-secondary education. We track the number of computers and mobile devices that have been provided to youth and young people. We do that given the particular purpose of the program. So there's certain tracking mechanisms that are in place, and that's basically accountability. So for those dollars that we're giving, competitive funds that we're giving to public housing authorities, they have to report back to us, and then we do a cross-management process to make sure that they're being used appropriately.
All right, and I'll just add that yes, we have tracked the number of youth who are mentored by the organization, and we've had a system in place for a long time that's tracked. Those are outputs, obviously, right? So we've had a system in place to try to track outcomes over time that under the leadership of Karen we're spending a lot of time on trying to get that right, because to your point, and I think my colleagues here as well, it's like the data is only as good as what's being put in there. And what's more of a challenge for these organizations that receive a grant from us is think about some of what you're trying to demonstrate as being affected, right? Reoffending, involvement with the juvenile justice system, academic improvement. These are things that are really challenging for some organizations to gather that data. Either they don't have access to it, the school maybe puts up a barrier, or it's just a challenge to get that. So while that's always been something that we've asked our grantees to track, and we do have some data, it's one of those things that I think we continue to strive to want to improve.
And I would just add, I think, you know, not only is it important and interesting to government to know and be able to tell, you know, all of America how we're spending taxpayer dollars, for communities to know how you're investing in their communities, I think is the bigger value. Well, not bigger, equally important value. So I just think that communities should also know if there are vehicles available to let communities know how your dollars are reached, or their tax dollars through you are reaching them. Always a great opportunity. Thanks.
June thinks a lot like I do, because that was my question as I was hearing everyone. How many kids? How does that translate into kids? And I think Elizabeth here, we just gathered up a few numbers, and I think for JJ, and you tell me if you think this is right or wrong, we might have grabbed from the wrong place for information, but between 2014 and 2018, it's a little over 1 million kids mentored during that time. Does that sound about right? Okay. So, and it is important that process kind of figure about how many served is important. But as Jim points out, I think equally important if not more important, is what does that mean? What does a kid look like who has been mentored,
Right.
who has been through the mentoring program? What would we expect to see? And, you know, as Jim pointed out, all those things we want to see for kids. Successful completion of school or advancing academically in an appropriate time frame, not having contact with the court system, just whatever those typical things are, living drug-free, living crime-free, all those kinds of things. So finding outcome measures and attaching those to the work that we do is important. I think it's critical. It's a little bit challenging, though, for organizations to try to keep up with, but that's certainly something that we're focused on at JJ. And I did have a couple questions, if you wouldn't mind. You know, we spoke the last time we were here. I think we told you that DOE and HHS and ONDCP / USDA, Betty Ann, they were coming to our national conference in Kansas City to talk to all the state advisory groups, the juvenile justice specialists and all of those folks about the Title I Part D funding that's available and how to connect with their Title I Part D coordinators in their states and all of those things to try to make those connections for folks in local jurisdictions. And I guess my question to both labor and HUD is, who is the person, or is there more than one person that you have locally or in a state that a juvenile justice specialist or a state advisory group, designated state agency, something like that, that someone would do if they were looking to access resources to improve their juvenile justice system or to improve just access to services for kids, either from a prevention standpoint or a maintain in the community detention alternative standpoint, something like that. Who do they go to? I think you mentioned the Public Housing Authority would be one place. But from all of the other great programs that you listed up there, is there like one clearinghouse for that for each of your organizations?
So at HUD, within a public housing authority, there's normally what we call the Resident Services Division. So they are the division that would manage any services related to residents, because you have the brick and mortar side of HUD, and then you have the supportive services. So you can get lost in the sauce and you go in the housing authority and say,
Yeah.
where's your funding going? But contact the Resident Services Division, because the programs that I spoke about, which support mentoring and bullying and youth, are going to be located in the Resident Services Division within a housing authority, and there's usually a resident services staff or coordinator. The other thing is that we have several HUD regional offices across the country. And I'm happy to also just, again, if you email me, provide a link to the point of contacts, because our regional administrators and field staff are the eyes and ears locally. They can give you that information as well.
Okay. How about labor? Jennifer, do you guys have a state version of
So we do, sort of. Yeah, with a lot of federal things, there's a lot of different like renditions in different places. I think the best options, we also have regional administrators, so getting connected to them if there's particular states you're interested in. Each state does have a workforce board, and then there's local workforce boards. And as I alluded to, I think the best spot is at a local level. And so to find those, there's a there's a locator that you can go to. If you Google American Job Center, you can put in your zip code, you'll get the nearest one stop, or American Job Center, and they're the same thing. And that would be the place to start, probably. Now, a lot of our local boards have youth committees, and when I say youth committee, people think of like the youth sitting across from us, but it's actually a coordinating group of people who are interested in the welfare of young people in their community. And so frequently on those committees, we'll have our education partners, or our housing partners, and our justice partners. And so their goal is also to coordinate that there.
Okay. I guess my final question for all three of you, Jim, you may not necessarily have an option here, but I'm going to invite anyway. Would you all be willing to come and talk to our state advisory groups in September when we have our national conference again? I think the last group that came, DOE, HHS, ONDCP, everybody that was there, I think our folks benefited so much from hearing directly from people and getting their questions answered and learning about resources. It really invigorated them and gave them some resources. If you all wouldn't mind, could I coax you out to San Diego? Okay.
Absolutely.
Good deal.
Yeah.
We'll do it. All right. Thank you all so much. Yeah, Jim, it's sort of voluntary.
I'd love to hear him say no.
Yeah, so, okay, well, we'll arm wrestle about it.
Me
All
too.
right. All right, now it is time to hear, for our youth spotlight, to hear from mentors and mentees. We have, and I will ruin everyone's name, and I apologize now for that, so please correct me and we'll get it right. Anna Piccarelli, okay. I didn't expect to get the Anna part right. I was thinking I'd follow the Piccarelli. Okay, Anna and Amira, and we have Christina and Frankie. All right, let me read you a little bit about everyone here. I think we'll start with Anna. Anna's a lifelong Anne Arundel County resident. She received her bachelor's degree in marketing and international business with a minor in Spanish from Villanova. From there, her passion for volunteering led her to California, working as a teacher's aide and an assistant religion coordinator with the Augustinian Volunteers. Okay. She has a well-rounded youth development background and experience working directly with various nonprofit organizations. After spending time working at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metropolitan Baltimore, Anna joined Boys and Girls Clubs of America as Director of Academic Success and is a mentor to several young girls. Anna's dedicated efforts are a daily example of the impact of the Boys and Girls Club that the Boys and Girls Club movement makes. For any of you who haven't visited the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis, I highly recommend it. It is absolutely phenomenal. All right, and with Anna, we have Amira. Amira is 10 years old and has been a Boys and Girls Club member at the Wiley H. Bates Club in Annapolis since 2016. She attends Germantown Elementary School and has participated in numerous programs, including Triple Play, Youth of the Year Suite, STEM Mentoring, Power Hour, Healthy Habits, MyFuture.net, Rooted in Reading, Smart Girls, Summer Brain Gain, we might all want to enroll in, and more. Through funding provided by OJJDP, Amira was paired with her mentor, Anna Piccarelli, Director of Academic Success at the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis. She mentors several youth there, we know already, ranging from 6 to 15 years old. Let's see, something else here about Amira. Amira has expressed that she has, in recent months, been bullied, experienced bullying from another youth. After this incident, she sought the help of her mentor, Miss Anna, and another staff member, Miss Shakira, and together they were able to discuss the incident and create a positive plan to move forward. They helped provide a safe environment for Amira when she felt comfortable sharing her experience. And she's brave enough to come in here and share with us today. So if you would, please welcome Anna and Amira. Thank you.
Nice. Got the clapping on the phone. I like it.
Okay.
All righty. So I'm going to take
Had
it
to
from
do it, I'm
here.
sorry.
That was good. So I'm going to take it from here and just kind of help to have you guys tell your story, right? I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'll do my best impression of Bob Barker. For those of you, or you guys are definitely not old enough for that. But anyway, I'll do my best impression to sort of be the MC here to just, like I said, have you guys give an opportunity to tell your story. So Karen just kind of gave a little bit of background, but I'm just curious, Amira, what grade are you in?
5th grade.
You're in 5th grade? this back on. We're going to be playing ping pong here with the microphones, I think. So fifth grade, so you're getting ready to, next year, will you move into middle school, or do you have a school that actually you'll be able to stay in the same school?
Middle school.
And Frankie, you're a senior, right?
Yes, sir.
Got it. I'll do it. All righty. So, Amira and Anna, again, thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate it. We have obviously have a background of a sense of where you guys are from, Boys and Girls Club in the Annapolis area. Can Amira, maybe could you start off just by telling us how did you get involved with mentoring?
Yeah, I can help with that too. So we actually have the club directors. We have 6 clubs throughout the county, and we had 800 registered members last year. Of those 800, we can do focused mentoring through this grant with 100 of them. So the club directors go through and identify which kids they think would benefit most from the mentoring program, and then which mentor would be best for them, and then we ask them. So I went to her and asked her if she wanted to be a mentee.
Clearly she said yes, right? So how long has that been?
About 6 months now. So I've been with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Annapolis for about 1.5 years, and I had the first group of mentees, and then about 6 months ago we added a few more, so she was in that round.
Great, thanks. And so, there's all the other programs that you're a part of at the Boys and Girls Club at that center. I had a chance to visit there before as well and see everything that's set up. Amira, can you tell us a little bit about sort of what's your favorite part of being a part of the Boys and Girls Club in Annapolis?
My favorite part is getting time to spend time with Miss Anna and her helping me with my homework and problems that I have going on at home or problems I have with people at Boys and Girls Club.
What's your favorite program?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
All of it? No, that's good. Yeah, so you mentioned earlier that there were it sounds like it helps you to be able to navigate problems that might come up, help you to, fix a problem or deal with something that comes up at school or at the Boys and Girls Club. So do you go to the Boys and Girls Club every day?
Yes, except for Tuesdays because I have dance at school.
Nice. Accomplished dancer. Okay, nice. Gotcha. Very good. Very nice. So then do you, when you're there, are you seeing Anna every single day, or are you doing more of some other activities that you mentioned on your write-up?
I'm either doing power hour or visiting Miss Anna when she's there.
So essentially how we're structured is we're open from after school until 7 p.m. What a day looks like is the kids come in after school. At the club that she's at, we actually pick up, we have buses, Boys and Girls Club buses, and we pick up from 7 schools in Annapolis. So they come in, they go upstairs and play kickball or some type of high-yield learning activity for a little bit. Then they come down and they do Power Hour. Power Hour is actually part of the evidence-based program Project Learn that we run. So that coupled with the high-yield activities and several literacy objectives that we have is what they do until about 4:45. Then they get dinner. The Maryland Food Bank donates a hot meal and a snack for every member. And then after that, they have targeted programs. So with all Boys and Girls Clubs across the country, we focus on 3 priority outcomes: academic success, good character and citizenship, and healthy lifestyles. So these programs are focused around one of those priority outcomes. And then from about 6 to 7, they have organized free time. So when she comes in, she'll do Power Hour, dinner, and then one of the programs. Those can range, like right now, you're in what, STEM? I think we're starting My Future again this week. We have a reading program. We have Healthy Habits where they learn how to cook healthy things. We have Triple Play, which is in the gym, and they play different types of organized games. they always stay within their age group. So yours is 3rd to 5th grade, right? So they always stay with the developmental milestone age group. And then, yeah, after programs are done, get free time and get to go home.
Nice. That's a lot. There's definitely a lot there to keep the kids busy. I know for sure. Lots of programs. It's definitely well run and just keeps you very busy, I'm sure. So you've known Miss Anna for about 6 months. Can you think, or maybe think of a time since you've known her where maybe you've learned something from her, or she has done something in particular to kind of help you out? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Get to go this summer.
We went to a Rifkin baseball place, and it was like when you got to stay overnight, and we played baseball, and we did different activities. And
Took you out of your comfort zone, right?
yep.
You go ziplining. We were able to take 4 girls this summer through our partnership with the Rifkin Foundation, and 3 out of 4 are actually my mentees. So they all got to go and spend 3 or 4 nights, and we went to Aberdeen, and they did a ton of stuff. We learned a lot there.
So you've been there. You've been at the club since 2016, so about 3 years or so. Right now, if your friends were here, or have you already tried to? If your friends ask you what you're doing, do you try to get them to do it to come and be a part of the Boys and Girls Club too, or have a mentor? Do you invite them to do that as well?
Yeah.
Most of your friends go to the club, right?
Yeah.
Her sister also attends the club, and she's one of my mentees as well.
Okay, so maybe better question. So if you went to your school and as you're a 5th grader and you're getting ready to leave and you wanted to tell the 4th graders about the Boys and Girls Club, what would be some of the things that you would say were really the best part of having a mentor like Anna or the Boys and Girls Club?
I would tell them that you get to do different fun activities, and you get to do your homework, and if you're struggling with your homework, there's always somebody there to help you.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to share about Mentor, or anything else you want to mention, either of you, Anna or Amira? All right. Yep.
Yeah, I think I'd probably turned it off to avoid problems. Okay. If you would, just tell us a little bit about this FBI high school kind of connection, this new initiative there, and just tell us anything else you want us to know about this.
Well, thank you very much for having us. So this program was launched last school year, and it was actually our community outreach specialist, Sandy Gartrell, who heard about a similar partnership in other FBI field offices, and so brought it to Houston. We try to figure out if that's something that the employees at the FBI would be interested in. It makes it really easy for us in the sense that we don't have an excuse about not finding enough time, because the program actually takes place in our office. So Frankie and other students from the High School for Law Enforcement and Justice visit us once a month, and they spend 2 hours at the office. The first hour we will do a case study or a case presentation, something about the FBI, and then the second hour we'll have lunch and we'll spend quality time talking about each other's week, month, or what have you, and or there will be an activity that Big Brothers Big Sisters provides. And so our relationship is a year long now. This is our second school year. And so we, again, for us mentors, there is no excuse of not having time because they're bringing it right to us. And so I think we have the largest participation of any FBI field office in the country, so we're very proud of that. And so we have quite a number of littles, as we call them, little brothers and little sisters, who come to the office. And so it's been a wonderful experience, and it makes it really easy for us.
One question. Now, I think the high school, Frankie, that you go to, this could be a question for either of you, is specific to or is focused on criminal justice curriculum. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. So are there other schools, the other FBI offices that do this high school partnership? Is it only with high schools that have these specialized curricula, or is it?
So I'm not sure. I believe there's only 2 other ones, and I'm not sure because everybody is catered differently depending on what they're working on.
I know for us it just made sense, right, that there would be an interest from these high school students to come into the FBI building and learn from FBI people. So it was a no-brainer in that sense. So it was specifically sought out for that high school.
Okay, Frankie, if you would please just tell us a little bit about you and your experience in your high school and what this experience is like working with the FBI.
Okay, so I joined the FBI program when I was a junior, and I've been in it for about 1.5 years now. It has helped me a lot, to be honest with you, because when I was junior in high school, it's hard because you're filling out college applications and everything like that. You're trying to figure out what your life is going to be like when you graduate and stuff like that. And when I met Christina, I didn't think that I'd have like a plan. You know, I thought like I didn't think it'd plan out the way that I thought it would plan out, because before I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And now, like, after going to the FBI building at least once a month and then going to my high school, it really helped me figure out what I want to do with my life. So,
Jim, I don't know if you had specific questions. I didn't mean to butt in.
It's okay. I do have a couple that I could add to it. No, that's okay. Thank you, Frankie, for getting us started there, and Christina. Frankie, I know you also brought a guest with you as well. I don't know if you is that right?
yes. My mom. Yes.
Critically important, right? So yeah, I just a question, I guess it's really for both of you, just to, I mean, obviously this program was set up, but maybe Christina, from your perspective, is this something that you had done before? Had you done any mentoring in the past?
Yes, I've done mentoring in the past, never through Big Brothers Big Sisters. We had a program when I worked in television called Communities in Schools, and we actually went out to the high schools and spent time with them, and I've actually seen the fruits of my mentees through that program. And so, again, Big Brothers Big Sisters, first of all, I love the name. I'm an only child, and my husband and I don't have any children, so it just seemed to be like a calling, a perfect fit for me. But so yes, I've done mentoring in the past in some capacity, but never through Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thanks. And I don't know if I think I may have missed this, but how long have you two been matched up as Big and Little?
So a year and a half. We started last school year. We go through the school calendar, so we're well into half of this year, so a year and a half.
And can you talk a little bit about just how often you guys get a chance to see each other, and just talk a little bit about the model and how that works?
So basically, what she said about once a month we meet at the FBI building and we just like catch up on things. For example, like how's college applications going? Basically, any questions that I might have like regarding me enlisting into the U.S. Navy, because she has a lot of information. But yeah, it's basically like catching up with like a good friend, basically. Because to me, like I don't really see her as like, how do I say this? It's not like an adult, but like a close friend, you know? But yes.
Well, certainly, I know you were laughing, but I think that's really a great sign of a great relationship for your mentee to tell you that, that it's that genuine connection that you have, and the relationship is so important. So that's nice to hear, Frank. And hopefully that was nice to hear as well. And so
I'll second that.
So can you, I guess I'm just curious, Frankie, from your perspective, did you, I guess I'm just wondering what drew you to this program. Was it the connection specifically to the FBI? Was there something else that just sort of said, aha, this is something I want to do? Just curious.
What drew me to join the program is that I want to, in the future, I do want to have a job in the law enforcement field because it intrigues me, and there is a lot of not good things in this world, and I feel like I'll benefit that because I do want to help people. I feel like that is my passion, and to helping solve crimes and all of that has to do with law enforcement. I believe that's my calling.
Are you? I'm just wondering if you could just, last thing I would ask is just saying, for the group, what you've learned since you've been doing this about Big Brothers and Big Sisters itself, and what you might tell to someone else your age or younger about Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
What I would tell somebody that's younger than me, I would recommend that they do attend Big Brothers and Big Sisters, because it's good to have someone, especially when you're growing up and you don't really know what to do with your life, or you kind of have an idea, but you need to kind of like advance it in a way. I feel like that is beneficial to younger youth. So yes, I do recommend it, yes.
I have a question for Mom, if you wouldn't mind. Clearly, Frankie is a very bright, engaged young man, and I guess my question is, have you noticed any change in him since he... Okay. Let's hear about that. I know. Come on over, Mom.
He loves going to the program every month, and every month he comes with a different story, and he gets motivated with Christine a lot.
Yes. So
As a parent, is there anything else you think we should know, those of us who are trying to find ways to support agencies like Big Brothers Big Sisters and Boys and Girls Clubs and all these other mentoring programs that are out there? Is there anything you want to tell us about how to do it better, or whether we should keep doing it or stop doing it, or what do you think about anything around this issue?
I think you guys are awesome, and you guys are doing a great job with the kids in the programs, and they are getting a lot of help. Yes, because they come home and they're so excited, and that's something I didn't see on Frankie before.
Really?
Yeah.
He seems very hopeful, looking up now as opposed to maybe not looking at a future or a past.
Exactly. He's 6 feet. I mean, he's not looking only one position. Now he's not every position around him.
Everything that's out there.
The whole view now.
That is awesome.
Yes.
All right. Anybody, does that bring up anything else from anyone else? No? Okay. To say. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming and for sharing your stories with you. Amira and Frankie in particular, I know it took a lot of guts to come up here in front of a room full of folks and talk about yourselves and what you're doing, but clearly y'all are on the right path, and the success is in your future. There's no way around it, and we're just thrilled for you. I think I can speak for everyone when I say we're just thrilled for you, and we're so grateful that you took your time. And to the mentors, Anna and Christina, I don't know, I'll cry if I sit here and say too much, so thank you. Thank you, thank you. It's awesome. Have dates for you. Thank you for our next meeting that I want you all to go ahead and jot down now so you can put them on your calendar. Our next coordinating council meeting will be March 4th at 10 o'clock, and then we'll have one June 4th at 10 o'clock, and then we'll have one September 10th at 10 o'clock. You just wrote noon to throw me off. Okay. September 10th at 10 o'clock. So those are the next three. I would like to have, we just don't have a date for the last one because we can't reserve the room this far in advance. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to. This is June Savilli from the White House Drug Policy Office, and I just want to say to the mentees and the mentors, to echo what Karen said, what you're doing is huge. Young people, what you're doing is huge. Tell your friends who need it, and maybe those who don't, that these are great programs. To the mentors, you're doing amazing work. And so many kids in America need this kind of program, need this kind of support, need this kind of guidance. And, you are the champions in America, and we need more of you everywhere. So thank you for your great work. Young people, kids, go team. You're going to rock America. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Okay. I'll be remiss if I don't add to that. I'm just really grateful to hear the mentees and the mentor and the work you do, your involvement. As I've mentioned earlier, mentorship also saved my life, so I know the importance of it really, really well. So thank you guys. Just wanted to add to that. Thank you very, very much.
Anything else you can think of? No? Everybody good? All right. Well, in that case, we're closed.
The meeting is over. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you. Bye.